Hello.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Awakening Happiness, where we talk about, we have these live conversations about various topics. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are not quite so new, make sure you have subscribed. And I hope you enjoy this one, which is on the topic of, lying. What is a lie? And does it have a space in our life? We usually find children lying to us when they've done something which we consider or they consider naughty, and they know that there are going to be consequences. So we know this, we experience this as children. We're lying to protect ourselves in some way um, because we think that's how we're in danger. But what happens when we're adults? Why do adults lie? And if you had an option of for the rest of your life telling the truth, or for the rest of your life only telling lies, what would you choose? There's a question.
Only
Chris,
telling lies.
what would you choose? Hmm.
Well, I mean, like, really, we probably all lie to a certain extent. I mean, what is a lie? I mean, like, a lie is saying, "Oh, that colour's green when it's clearly yellow," right? That's a lie, isn't it? It's not, but it's like we all see colours differently, so there's no guarantee that whatever we say is true anyway. But like, what is a lie? It's like, is it an attempt to deceive someone? I mean, the other day we spoke about um uh should we what was it, what were we talking about when we were talking about or did we talk about it where oh yeah, no, it was like if something's open, like, so let's say a shop is
Mm-hmm.
shutting at 5, and we said, oh, you think, well, is that a lie because we don't know and we're basically saying something, and therefore it, if it turns out to be true, it wasn't a lie. If it turns out to be false, it was a lie. But are we lying because we don't really know? And what we're saying is we we could say, well, I don't know, which is the truth, or we could say, oh, it's open till 5, which we
But
don't
we
know
are
if,
just conjecturing. We
yeah,
are just having
we
a.
don't know if it's true or not. So it's like, and
Mm.
it could turn out to be true. We're almost like lying and not lying at the same time. But it could turn out to be a lie. And so, are we lying to big ourselves up? Are we lying to discredit someone? Are we lying to gain some kind of advantage?
Hmm.
What's the purpose? Are we looking to deceive? Yeah, what's the purpose of the lie? And it might not be intentional. Like, it might be that someone's asked us our opinion about something, and we know there's things that they're going to like, and we know there's things they're not going to like, but we just tell them the things they're going to like because we know that they're going to agree with that, and we don't get into a confrontation. Now, is that a lie?
So what does even a lie mean?
Yeah, I mean,
It's a made up concept. It's a human-made concept. Anywhere in nature, this doesn't exist.
yeah, I'll give you another one. Right, climate change doesn't exist. Right, so that's a statement,
Or
right? Now,
climate change exists.
yeah, people are going to say to me, "Oh, well, of course it exists. You're lying. Like, your belief is a lie, right? Your belief is a lie." Well, climate change is happening anyway, right? Nature is taking care of that, right? Right. So the better question is, are humans affecting the climate adversely with all their pollution? Right. That's a different question, isn't it? Right. And you could say, well, possibly, yeah, like, it's possible that humans are accelerating the change in the climate. It's possible to say that. And it's possible to say, if humans lived in harmony with the climate, they would be less inclined to produce loads of rubbish which could have an impact on the. However, By inventing plastic, there is now a bacteria that's been developed that eats plastic, right? So it doesn't really matter what humans do. Nature is going to react accordingly, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we are again bigging ourselves up to be the crown of creations, that we are actually affecting the climate of this
Okay,
planet. What? We can't even go to the moon the second time, and we are thinking that we are affecting the climate of this planet, really? But that brings me to fact or fiction, or fact or what is truth, so that we can have then lie, which is the opposite.
I mean,
And
it's
you
just
had a
like,
nice one about from the Zen perspective.
yeah, I mean, basically, there is subjectivity and objectivity are both an illusion. And people might say, oh, hang on a minute. Subjective is like basically not based on facts. So subjective, it's like, oh, it's subjective because everybody can have a different view. Therefore, you can't pin it to one thing or another. Yeah. And that's true, right? You can't pin it to one thing or another because everybody's opinion has to be included in that. Objective is where you can say, well, no, I can apply some logic to this. This is a fact, that's a fact, that's a fact. Therefore, if all those things are true, this is also true, right? Because it has to go in the same box, right? Yeah, but those facts are still opinions, aren't they? They're opinions based with numbers that we've agreed form the basis on which to make a positive factual judgment, right? But who's to say those facts on the actual measuring tool are are sure, or are they up for question as well? Because like in the old days, it used to be, well, let's just bleed people with they bleed them because obviously the illness is within their blood, and if we let the blood out, blood out, then basically we're letting the poison out as well, and they'll get better. No, they'll die because they've got not enough blood. So now
But
we
that
let
was the science was thinking that, and they believed that was the truth.
exactly. So, and it's like the same with the mind. If you look at pictures of the brain, right? If you go back in like 50 years, 100 years, right? The brain was originally made up of like stairs and steps and like basic machinery and stuff like that. And then it got changed to a computer, and now it's got changed to some kind of weird sort of cloud or something. And it's basically our understanding is changing. Consequently, our pictures of what we're drawing are changing as we understand more, right? So it's like it's not a lie, is it? It's just where we're at. But nothing's factual. Illusion. All of it's an illusion, based both objective and subjective, but both illusions. And until it's almost like you can't really get any further forward until you understand that the place you're at the moment is a direct consequence of all the decisions you've made thus far. It's almost as clear
Mm.
cut as that. Until you can understand that concept, and you're not blaming other people for where you are, right? Until you understand that, you can't really go forward because that belief is stopping you. And like when you subjectivity and objectivity, if you start saying, oh, no, that's objective's true, subjective's just hearsay, neither are true. You have to kind of go back to basics and say, what do I know through my own experience? If someone says to me, "Do you think Charles would be a good king of England?" I have no idea. I've never met the guy.
Well, he's never had an experience of that either, so we don't know.
He has no idea, does he? What constitutes a good king anyway? Someone that doesn't massacre his own people. What's a good king? Everything's relative, isn't it? And it doesn't, and everyone's got an opinion of it. Some people might say, "Oh, I think it's going to be rubbish." Why is that? Well, because I read the papers.
Yeah. We when we actually set our eyes on this topic today, we came from an idea of sparing the truth when there is a imagine everybody has had this situation, or if they haven't had the situation, it will definitely come a point in time when everybody will be faced with this about their own health or the health of their loved one. And when there are some not so good prognosis. And so, do we tell the person whose body it is that they might have something not quite desirable happening for them? Do we tell them all the truth or we don't? Do the doctors have to tell them the full length of what's going on at this moment with their health, or do they not tell them because if they don't, maybe they will heal? But if they tell them the truth, they might be crushed and then they give up and not be healed. So, and I think this is one of our human, this is where we actually become quite human, and we can't really take example from nature so much, because then we have our emotions, our caring, our humanity. So do we tell the truth in that case, or do we only say a few bits and miss out the more important ones? And also, alongside this, we help the person to change their mindset and recover. Or, so this is the one option, where the humane way. Or do we tell how it is? And then it's the divine purpose and the divine path of the soul to decide or not to fight for their life or not, or to heal, to want to heal. What is the right way? And there is no right way. But there's either going to be one where we tell the full truth, but then again, what's the truth? Because we know that the human body is capable of healing any minute instantaneously and change the direction of that prognosis becomes irrelevant. And so what's the truth? There is no truth. And there's this paradox. If I tell you how it is, the person, it's like the Schrodinger's cat. If I tell the person how it is, they can either decide that they're going to do this or that or that. Or if I don't tell them, they will carry on the same way, being quite oblivious of what's going on and not change direction. So do we tell them and we kind of risk our own idea of who we are and our humanity and how kind we are? And do we do the right thing? Or do we not?
Well,
Very, very tricky one, isn't it?
well, let's just take it back a bit. The person that's receiving the news, where are they in their mindset? Where are they in their spirituality? What's their belief structure and belief systems involved here?
Exactly. If you take this into account, then it becomes even more complicated.
Well, like if someone is very, very spiritual, for example, and they believe in what you just said, that the human body can heal whatever, and you tell them some bad news, what's that going to do for that person? Is that, I mean, we don't know the answer to this question, but the likelihood is they'll say, well, okay, I know my task now. I'm going to get to work on this because I feel that I know that I'm in control of my future destiny and that I know that everything is mind. The mind itself, the mind as is, it's not separate from the body, by the way. We are as a complete entity, part of everything. So maybe they say to themselves, okay, well, the mind is part of this whole organism, this whole thing. Therefore, I can elicit a different outcome here. Now I understand what it is and how. But like that's one potential thing that they may choose to do. And another one might their belief systems might be a bit weaker, and they say, "Oh, that's it then. That's all a load of old mumbo jumbo, and I can forget all that. And I can I just better go and grab the whiskey bottle and have a bit of fun before I disappear." Right, and that's another.
Yeah, that's another way. So
Or
which way do we go? Does the person need to know the truth of the facts? And we said already there are no facts.
like the other thing is right is that the mind is like the body we rent for a little while, right? The mind or the spirit or the soul, as people might refer to it, could be depends on your belief systems, could be eternal, right? There's all sorts of stories of people saying, and Victoria knows this, a friend of both of ours, is like in the um near death experiences, and they all the people that have died and not and basically come back to life all say a very similar thing about what's happened to them during that process. They seem to have some recall of something that took place. And even with my mother, she was talking in very strange stories when she had a near death experience, because she did. She almost died, and like she came back, and they said she said, well, they told me it wasn't my time. like and like, you shouldn't be here yet.
Mm.
And she came back to life, and then a month later she's passed away. But like, it was like the doctors had made a faux pas with a blood transfusion, and she almost died. And that was when she came back and said, no,
So, is if even if the doctors make a mistake, it's still not going to happen if it's not the time.
well, we don't know. That's a view. That's a view. But what I'm saying is that the spirit or the soul, it can't be sick. It can't be sick. If I was to chop off one of your hands, it wouldn't make one iota to who you are. You might be a little bit angry with me, but like,
It will be the mind and the ego that's going to be angry.
yeah, but it's not the soul. That the
It's
actual
not the soul.
entity that you are is no different with or without that hand. It's okay, limits your capabilities, but it doesn't change the actual underlying essence of who you are one bit. Right. And consequently, when we look at this from a sickness perspective, it's not the soul that's sick. Because, like, you probably think to yourself, oh, I'm still 16, I'm still 18, I'm still 20. Like, inside us, we haven't aged. Age is a human body thing going on there, an
Hmm.
experience and an expectation of, now I'm getting older, I can't do this and I can't do that, which is all drivel, by the way. It's just what we're conditioned to believe is the case by society, much as some of the other discussions we've had, where society imposes on you something. You say, oh yeah, now I'm 60, I can expect my bus card because I'll probably be too slow to drive, and like, now I got to start quietening down my life because I'm old now, like, and like, oh no, that's another receding hairline going on here. That really does confirm that, according to society, I'm on the autumn/winter of my life. Like, it's coming to an end. Well, who says so? Like,
Yeah. No, but
no,
it's just you believe, you choose to believe that this is
it's
how it is.
that concept that's been spun out there because, according to the facts, which are an illusion, and according to people's, like, other viewpoints, the subjective, it's like, this should happen. Yeah, okay, well, that's for the other people. I'm not choosing that route. Thank you very much. I'm going on with this one. Um, so when it comes to somebody who's receiving bad news, health bad news, look, I think you have to, like, 'cause I don't think it's a lie. I think you just have to take it like, you know who that person is. So it's like, how do you explain it to them? And my mum, she had said, look, the doctors won't tell me what's going on. Can you tell me what's going on?
She wanted to know the truth.
And I told her.
Well, the current state of
And
affairs.
I told her. And the reason I told her was very, very simple. My mum said, she said it to me, said to Ella, said to all people. She said, look, I've had a good life. I'm not bothered if I go tomorrow, to be honest. Like, I don't want to be lied to. I want to know what's going
Mm.
on so I can set my thought processes in place accordingly. And like, she said, I've had a good life. Like I'm 82, whatever. I've had a good life. I've enjoyed myself. I've been to sort of places. And, my contribution to this world now is zero. I'm just a liability. So, it's time to take a stage left and get off here. And
It's like finding peace with yourself and be content
yeah,
whatever happens,
yeah. Well,
and not trying to control everything.
yeah, and she wasn't frightened, and that I think you had a conversation yesterday or the day before about death, like, and at 18 I was like, well, I don't want to die. Like, I got
Mm.
loads to do, right? And at 60 I still don't want to die. Right? But my understanding of what that means for me through experience and through life and everything else, you become more wise to these things. And I think like, if you get some pretty grim news, it doesn't have to be the reapers round the corner with the sickle, like to take you away. If there's still things for you to do here, I think you'll still stick around, because like, you've got that that inside energy, which is a healing thing.
If we change the subject slightly, there's this quantum physics, which is probably the most accurate of sciences there is to our understanding at this stage of our human development. And in quantum physics, there is no predetermined outcome.
Hmm.
Everything changes, and every time everything is possible. In every single moment, there could be multiple different options of how things can happen, and they exist at the same time. So even if somebody gets some prognosis at the same moment in this time, another option exists as well.
Right.
It's just how does our body manage to jump from this path to this path, which is simultaneously also available to us at the same time. And it's all to do with switching the mind somehow, which is a for some people it takes long to change. It's a lifetime process. But when it's really that dire, desperate case, maybe that's how people have these miraculous recoveries and miraculous healings, divine interventions, we call them, where the path from here went right there, and now it's completely like a different person, different body, different life, different health.
Hmm.
But is that possible and available to everybody? I
Well,
believe so. But the mind is in the way. And that mind is the one that causes the lying and the need for lying.
well, the need for lying comes from the ego, doesn't it? The ego and all the fear of something bad happening that basically is bad for you.
Mm.
But like, what what is like, like, this is a really important point as well. Every single good time that we've had comes from bad times. It comes from difficult situations. I'm not all, but most. Like,
You
if you
appreciate it more because it came from after the very period
well,
of difficulty, yeah.
let me just put it a different way. If we knew how those good times had happened, we would never have chosen the path that led to them. Not out of choice, like, they're not things that we would like. People say to times you meet someone and you met them and there's some really difficult times going on. Oh, it's really bad, whatever it is. And you see him later on. He said, "Oh yeah, you'll never believe it. But I was doing this, and I hated that, and then this happened, and this happened, this happened, and now I'm on a gravy train to like riches and happiness and whatever." Well, not that those two things come in the same box, by the way, but uh,
To them, they did.
but like it's like we would have those bad times led to good times, and we would never have chosen those bad times out of choice because they were bad and they were difficult at the time, very difficult times, but they led to good times because of the difficulty, almost likely. But it's like I say, at the end of the day, the wheel of life is there's good times, there's bad times, there's the transition between the two. It's like a wheel, and we can't constantly go around this wheel. Bad times down here, what we define as bad times, but normally if it's bad times, people say it's no money and not able to do what I want, and I'm like forced to do something I don't like, and then it gets better and better and better. Then it's really good times, and then we're really happy and we're enjoying ourselves and we're maybe relaxing, and then suddenly it all goes horribly Pete Tong again, and we start to go down, and then we're back at the bottom, and it's a constant like this all the time. And at the bottom, it's a learning experience. So like there, we should be turning off the like this. We should enjoy the learning part of it. So we turn it round. Most of us do enjoy learning, even though we convince ourselves we don't. But when we do. When we do the learning, it encourages. We get excited about something. We get, and as we start to go up the other side again, people start to latch on and buy into our enthusiasm, or just sort of like latch onto us, and suddenly it's nice times again. What we would describe as nice times, they're all nice times. It's like the seasons, isn't it? The 4 seasons. It's like some people say, "Oh, I like summer; it's nice and hot," and the winter's really bad 'cause it's cold. But every season's amazing. It's like learn to enjoy every season because every season brings amazing things. In the winter you can go sledging, you can play in the snow, you can sit beside a log fire and enjoy the warmth of the winter and the nights and the roast dinners and stuff like that. In the summer you can enjoy barbecues and salads and meeting people in the sun and enjoying nature, walking around and stuff you can't do in the winter, or you're reluctant to in the winter. Every season brings it. And then in the spring, you're looking forward to the summer. In the autumn, you're a bit too hot that summer, so let's have a bit of cold. And we're looking forward to the nice long evenings where you can relax and chill. And TV's your thing. Watch some TV. It's not mine, but yeah, there's life is there to be enjoyed in every aspect, not just you know when you're unwell, you can relax, can't you?
That's why you are. But back to lying, maybe we should give ourselves a little slack on that because lying is just
Well, let's take politics for example. Right now, we all know, right, that we all know that they're communicating a message to curry the most favour. So,
favor.
but they want to have the popularity such they're re-elected. So they're giving us a message that half the people won't like it, and half the people will go wax lyrical about it. Right, but they want a little bit more than half to like it, and a little bit less than half to not like it. Right, but the point is, they can't please everybody all of the time. They can't. In fact, at the moment, they can't please anybody any of the time. But but they're not telling us the whole truth. They're only telling us the view that they think will get the right response. There's a load of old rubbish behind
But
it.
that's called manipulation.
That's manipulation, but it's also a white lie, isn't it? Because they're only telling us the bit of it. They're not telling us all of it. Because if they told us all of it, it's almost like, is the population capable of understanding all of it? That's another question. Like the Brexit thing, the people that were voting to stay in Europe were saying the other people don't understand what this is. By the way, they don't understand. So the Remainers were saying, "Oh no, we just don't understand how bad it's going to get." Now, when we were voting for Brexit, and I didn't vote, by the way, because to be honest, it is what it is, and we'll just ride with it. Like it's just, I'm not. yeah, we're still alive and we can still do things. So at the end of the day, we're able to operate and just take each day as it comes and be an adventure, won't it? Whichever way we go, right? And we're having an adventure at the moment, and a lot of people are not happy with this adventure, right? So, right, but we all but it was like it was a really touch and go which way we went, and now we're in this situation. But no one when voting for Brexit in 2016 expected COVID, right? And shutting down the country was never going to end well, was it? So has that basically created the situation that we now find ourselves in? No one expected the Ukraine war to take place. No one expected the financial meltdown that's impending. No one's expected this stuff. But if you look back in history, no one ever expected all the events that took place to take place either, did they?
Mm.
It's all very well looking back and saying, oh, it was great in the 50s. Well, it wasn't really, to be honest. And oh, it's fantastic in the swinging 60s. Well, really, was it? They were kind of looked on as weirdos, right? Like LSD and drugs and all this. And then the 70s were great. Yeah, well, we came off the gold standard, and like there was we went from like the old English money to new English money, and then we had huge inflation and stuff. Was that a good time? Massive interest rates. Were they good? They were tough. They were tough times. And now are they tougher? Who like what are we comparing apples with bananas again?
Yeah.
But look, it's just going on. Whatever's going on is going on, and we have to deal with it, whatever it is. So lying, politics is like conservative truth. I'm only going to tell you what I want you to hear. That's
Mm.
control, manipulation. But you could also say it's lying because you never told me this. Well, you didn't ask, so I didn't tell you. I just told you what I thought would be acceptable. But the rest of it I kind of buried because it's better for me if you don't know about that. Is that a lie?
Yeah. It is a lie. But you did, I don't know, is it a lie when somebody asks you a question and you answer completely opposite to what you know, you are aware of, that you're not? Let me say it again. So you ask me a question, Chris, and I know what the answer is, but I give you a completely different answer. So that for some reason I think I'm in danger for saying what the real facts, the facts that I know are. And for whatever reason, I'm trusting these facts, and I'm giving you a different sequence, different sentence with
Yeah,
a different answer.
look, I do it with numbers because it's easy to understand what you're talking about here. You might ask Rishi Sunak, you might ask him, aren't interest rate rises, not that he's in charge of that, that's the Bank of England, aren't interest rate charges going to cripple the economy? The answer to that question is probably, right? Probably they are, because interest rates means less people invest in business, people are facing higher mortgage rates, people, because the economy can't invest so much, it won't grow so much. So basically, you're going to get a reduction in the GDP, which is nonsense anyway. But basically, you're going to be. It's a figure that they can publish to
So
say,
there's a lot of variables in
yeah,
this.
a lot of it. So
Yeah.
he can't. So when people say it's raising interest rates bad for the economy, he turns around and says, well, yeah, like what you've got to look at is you've got to look at the amount of people employed and right. And people say that's not the question I asked. It's
Yeah, it's like giving you all sorts of other things to distract you from the
no, but
answer.
not really, because it's a complex situation, and in order to answer the question, he's got to bring in the other things that relate to it.
Yeah,
One,
but this is not lying.
okay, well, some people would say it is. Just answer the bloody question. Stop dragging me off on some nonsense trail. Just answer the question.
This is just avoiding the straightforward answer. That is. It's not like telling you, no, it's not going to be bad, or yes, it is going to be bad. This is going to be lying
But
because
it, but it
it's
is
not real.
it's
It's not
subject.
it's not
It's
possible to
subjective.
say yes or no.
Yeah, it's difficult for them to answer the question. That's what I'm saying, and then they get slated for not answering the question. But it's a difficult question to answer, and you have to give a lot of different. Lying is when
Yeah,
they
because
say,
that's like a complex situation. But if it's like, did you spill the milk? And the kid says no.
Right. Yeah.
But the
Or
milk is spilled.
and I didn't do it. Yeah. Yeah. So it must have been.
It wasn't me. Or
There's
I
only
didn't throw it.
there's only two.
I didn't break it. I didn't put it in the bin.
Yeah, yeah. That's that invisible third person again. But you know,
Yeah.
you can ask Boris Johnson. You can say, "Were you involved in a party at 10 Downing Street during the COVID lockdowns?" And he goes, "Well, no, not exactly. You know, like I kind of walked in and there was a party going on. It was nothing to do with me. It's yeah, he stretched the limit.
Dressing it up.
It's
Dressing it up.
But he stretched the limits of believability beyond our capacity to think, oh, he's giving the benefit of the doubt. It's like, there's no doubt here. Like, call a spade a spade. I was at the party. Like, be honest. At least people might forgive you for frailty, but lying until you can't, yeah, until it's just obvious you're lying. It's just you lose every credibility.
So we're lying because the ego is lying, actually.
Yeah.
And we're lying because of whatever dramas we have in our head that we want to execute.
But you think you were talking about there, where you're giving someone some bad news about their health, right? You might be frightened yourself of how the reaction might go, so you just avoid having.
Exactly. Yeah, you think that if you give the bad news, then you might be the reason for that person giving up on life or not.
Yeah, and you know, like,
And you kind of start to think, oh, this is my responsibility now. But it's not.
yeah, but easy to say, difficult to do.
Yeah. Well,
Because
let us know in the comments. What do
yeah,
you think about lying? Have you had to do this type of have you been yourself in a situation we have been describing in this? My words are not coming out this morning. Yeah, so, and if you haven't subscribed yet and you like our content, please do hit the subscribe button, like the video, share it with your
hit the
friends,
bell.
and the bell as well. So you'll get notification when we have the next one. They're usually daily, but still good to have a reminders. Thank you, Chris, for your wisdom today,
No wisdom.
tackling this topic of lying, which I don't think it can never be unraveled.
I mean,
Like anything in life can't be unraveled. It is what it is, and that's it.
I think you just have to say that subjectivity and objectivity both together are illusions, and you
Illusions.
know, and what we have to do is just I think we have to just kind of like look at ourselves and say, are we happy? Are we on the right path, regardless of what's going on elsewhere? And if we are,
Well,
then
that's our guiding light, our own happiness.
mm,
Because you're not going to be happy if you're not like really truly happy if you're not following the lead of your soul.
mm. Okay.
Right. Thank you for watching.
See
Bye.
you. Bye for now.